Everyone, and welcome to our Power Thinking, Rejuvenating Your Amazing Mind training for Wednesday. It is June 17th, 2026, and this is our 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time edition. I'm your moderator, Stanley Green. Always a pleasure to be with you, and we're doing a special version of our Power Thinking training sessions, resilience training sessions. We had another program planned, and I thought I'd change it at the last minute because all of the excitement, all of the hype, whether you are a New York Knicks fan or not, certainly there was a lot of hype around and energy, not only in New York but around the country. I'm not even a Knicks fan, and I was really excited for them. So we want to talk about that this morning because if you watch what happened with this team, you'll notice that the things that we talk about were on full display, and they would not have been able to win it on just their dribbling skills and shooting skills alone. There was another element that distinguished them from the other team, who for most of the series, the NBA championship series, were up. We're leading when they counted the minutes that San Antonio led versus the New York Knicks. It was just astounding as to how the Knicks were able to do what they were able to do, being down for most of these games. So very, very interesting. But again, it highlighted, what we talk about with resilience and helping as we help you to build these essential strengths and skills so that you, in whatever you do, if you're playing sports, if it's pickleball or tennis or whatever it is, that you're able to not only bounce back from adversity, but actually to thrive. And the New York Knicks was a perfect example of that. I'm joined by one of our long time members, at least 5 years, Timothy Butts. Right, and Timothy, you're joining us from Houston, is it?
I'm in Houston. Yep.
You're in Houston. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, you're a Rockets fan.
Believe it or not, I'm a Sixers and a Knicks fan
Okay.
for
Oh,
obvious reasons. For
right.
obvious reasons.
Sixers and,
Yeah.
and Knicks. So I'm really
Yeah.
happy, Timothy, and you'll be joining us this evening as we focus on this subject. Now, we sent out a video. It was a 6-minute video, and I asked you to watch just 3 minutes of the video. And I think it told it all. It was Jalen Brunson, who was the most valuable player of that series, was being interviewed, and you heard some things that, if you've been with us long enough, you can track it back to what we talk about each and every week. And so love to get your thoughts about that. I see Leslie Flowers is on the line, and so we're going to go to Leslie. But Timothy, what I'd like you to do first is share with us. You're a Knicks fan, but tell us a little bit more about your relationship with the Knicks and one of their special players.
Sure. Hey, good morning, family. How y'all doing? So my relationship between being a Sixers fan and a Knicks fan, why that dichotomy exists. So while living in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and I was coaching initially at the YMCA in Voorhees, New Jersey, with my two sons. And it's my policy that if my sons are going to be in a sport, I'm going to either be coaching it or one of the assistant coaches, because I always want to make sure there's a management of the culture. And I want it to be consistent with the values that we have in our household. So after having
Timothy,
gone through a couple,
if you can, just can you speak up a little bit, give
oh,
us more
I'm
volume?
sorry.
Because
Yeah.
I'm,
How about
I'm
now?
using low tech here. I have a phone with the speaker on next to the computer. That's what we do.
Cool. How about there?
Right. Yeah.
Is that better?
Yes, much better.
I'll just get closer. Okay, I'll just get closer.
Great.
Okay, so shall we start back over or?
Yes.
Okay. So while coaching in Voorhees, New Jersey, I was living in Cherry Hill at the time, and because I believe in managing the family values both on the court and off the court. I was coaching my two sons, Tim Jr. and Christian, being first and
Now,
second.
what year
First,
was this?
that was, oh gosh. So my guys are now 32
Okay.
and 30,
Mhm.
and Jalen is now 29. So Jalen was right along with Christian, but I didn't even know who Jalen was. Check this out. So let's do the math. I'm thinking it was 2003, 2004
Ah, okay.
initially.
All right.
Yeah.
Early
Yeah.
2000s.
Initially around that time.
Yeah, my kids were in high school then. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
So around that time frame, I was working, let's see, I had just relocated to the area. I was formerly the co-chair of innovation for Mayo Clinic out in Minnesota. And we had
Hmm.
moved to Pennsylvania, and I took on a role in the merger of SmithKline Beecham and Glaxo. So to
Ah,
keep the kids engaged, I had them involved in sports. So Tim was in third grade. He was participating at that point in third and fourth grade basketball. Christian was involved as a first grader, first and second grade basketball at the Y in Voorhees.
hmm.
And because I had been consistently doing it since Tim was in first grade or in kindergarten, the people there knew me. The people at the Y knew me. So I was able to continue to grow my team. I had them doing other things during the week together. I always wanted a cohesive unit,
Hmm.
and the guys would work, and they would always pretty much consistently have the same 8 guys together. And then new kids would come in from the neighborhood and join, blah, blah, blah. Well, one day while at the gym, a woman approaches me. She says, I've been watching you. And I'm like, what do you mean? She says, I've been watching you. I like how you handle your sons. I like how you handle the other kids you're coaching. And I want my kid to play for you. I'm like,
Hmm.
excuse me? She said, yeah. Where's he at? She says, he's not here today. But why don't you come by the house? We're going to be doing a little swimming thing, and I'll introduce you. I'm like,
Hmm.
okay. And then her husband walks up, and I was like, this dude looks familiar, but I couldn't quite place him. He was about easily three inches taller than me.
Right.
So the two of them like talked about what they observed, and they said they were observing, kept on talking about what they observed. So they
Hmm.
left. Go over to the Y pool
Hmm.
the following week, and she's there with her daughter and her son. And she introduces, and she says, "This is my son, Jalen." I said, "How you doing? How you doing?"
Hmm.
And this is his sister. How you doing? How you doing? And yeah, he's gonna play. Didn't ask. I remember this part. He's gonna play up. And I'm like, what do you mean? Well, he's gonna play up because one, I like how you coach, but two, you have two sons. So I want him to play with your older son. I said, what grade's he in? She said, kindergarten. I said, huh. But he needs to play up. She said,
Wow.
huh. Okay. And he cannot play with his left hand. He cannot bring the ball to the hoop with his left hand. I want him to
Right.
only work on his right hand while he's working with you guys. And I want him to get along, talk to the kids because he's been doing a lot of stuff with dad. And I want him to work more like on a team and get used to that. I'm like, huh. So those are the three criteria. Yeah, but keep on coaching the way you're coaching because I like it. You engage the kids and all that kind of stuff. I said, okay, okay. So we go out there and we start practicing, and the kid
Yeah.
doing all these skills that the other kids are like, what? No look passes, dribbling, double, being able to, he knew about back court, front court, chest pass, bounce pass, all of this stuff. It's like, okay. So finally, after a few practices, and our guys are already starting to get warm up to the idea, and he's playing with kids who are easily 4 inches, 5 inches taller than him, all of them,
Right.
because he's
Right.
playing up.
Right.
So we go undefeated.
Wow.
Then we go undefeated the next year. Then we
You
go
win
undefeated the next
championship.
year. And I'm like, I started to get the idea because Dad would come down during the Knicks um, Valentine's Day break. That's when the All Star
Hmm.
game is.
Right.
So All Star game break means there's no basketball unless you're in the game. But he would come down from New York because he was on the Knicks at this point.
Right.
So they finally broke it down. Yeah, he's on the Knicks. I'm like, that's where I've seen you before. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're like all over the floor. He's Mr. Defense.
Right.
And he was real gutsy in far as the way his style of play.
Right.
And watching that, and then watching his son, I was like, so you guys play a lot. This is, hey, we have two kids, and we were very purposeful because I can see you're always telling the kids, okay, this time when you're doing baseball, and next time when you're out swimming, and next time when you're out doing, she says, no, the ball that he plays is basketball. Like, okay, so right out of the womb, basketball, straight up.
Wow.
We have a basketball court in the backyard, that type of thing. He goes down to the basketball court and works out with dad. That's why he needed to kind of make this transition over. So even when we had play dates, it was great. He was a very personable guy. Come over to the house, have play dates and all that. He would always ask me things like very, very direct. I love this. He would like say, so why is that there? I'm like, oh, the reason why we have that there is because this room here is set up for an office, and this room over here is set up for a den.
Hmm.
Okay. And this, and he was very, very. I, I just like the fact that he knew who he was, even at a very young age. But
Hmm.
he also knew that the bigger kids were going to challenge his skills better than a kid his own age. So I was
Hmm.
very impressed by that. So when the family finally relocated, we maintained contact. I was blessed for that, especially his mom. And in communication, it was just wonderful just watching him get player of the year over in Illinois and then just
Yeah.
grow in his whole experience. And then when the Final Four came to Houston, he was at Villanova his first year.
Yes.
And mom calls me up and we said, we're going to go sit down there. And I took a nice picture. We sat, not courtside, about 5 rows up. And we just sat there watching
Wow.
them play and practice and everything. Took a nice picture in the stands and got to watch this guy win a national championship. And then
Wow.
not the next year, but the following year, won another national championship. And
Right.
that's where I was first engaged and saw the guys who are now the Nova Knicks. Those guys were on that team in Villanova. So I got to watch that and that great cohesive unit. And she kept on talking about these are all my kids. I love for all the guys to be kind of like what you were doing. All the kids are together. And that way we know the values that we have are all instilled with the kids together. And that was a beautiful
Wow.
thing. And that's where
Wow.
you saw it spill over into the court. You really
Yes.
did. And
Yes.
the one kid, I remember that old commercial. I think it was for either AT&T or something else. The one other kid, the white kid, um, what was his name? But he
That kid.
wound up playing on another NBA
Oh
team.
yeah. Dante DiVincenzo.
Yes, DiVincenzo. She said
Yes.
he's one of our kids, and I'm so disappointed, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
But that commercial spelled it out so well. It's like they all walked up, they looked at each other, and they tossed him something. And it
Right.
was like really, really cute. But that was them. That was a cohesive unit. And it was a joy just to watch that whole growth and to have been part of it. So to this
Yeah.
day, to this day, she still calls me Coach Tim and is able to reach out to the family. And I was just blessed and excited that I was able to experience watching this kid grow up. And I don't know how many of you have experienced someone and being able to watch the skills grow, their values and culture within them grow, but also their self-belief, but also their God belief, their community belief all just grow and transmit over to what they do. That truly is what this kid's about. And I loved his sincerity because there was a certain level of I can do it. And I love the fact that during a couple of the interviews after a couple of games, he kept on talking about his work ethic.
Hmm.
He's not going to doubt things because he know he's put in the work.
Hmm.
But on the court, when people are out there banging him around because of his size, this kid works out a lot. He works out
Yeah.
a lot. So he bounces back from it. I remember one time Embiid tried to bounce him around. He looked at Embiid. The next time he took it right at him. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Amazing. That's an
Yeah, yeah.
amazing story, Timothy. It's good. You mentioned that you coached in the past, that you
Mhm.
coached them for 4 years, and I'd forgotten. And then you last night when I sent out the email with the video,
Yeah.
you replied that, oh yeah, I coached him. I said, oh my gosh, that's right. And
Yeah.
he said, you got to come on as a co-host. And this is the first time hearing the full story. It is absolutely amazing. So you are part of that village.
Oh
You are
yeah,
part of
definitely.
the village that
Definitely.
made
Definitely part of the
Jalen
village.
who he is, and he's now
Yeah.
an international
Phenomenon.
star. Certainly, the
Yeah.
mayor of
Yeah.
New York now,
Right.
and,
Right. Yeah.
and of course, big parade tomorrow. There's been many interviews, but I wanted you to share that. I want to go to Leslie Flowers, and anyone, if you have any comments, feel free to hit that *6, or if you're on LinkedIn, leave a comment. Um, what did you think about the video we shared? It's a 6-minute video. I asked you to watch only 3 minutes, But what came out, and Jalen Brunson, uh, the man who was in kindergarten when in first grade and second grade when Timothy Butts coached him, uh, he was the MVP, and he shared some things in the interview that ties into what we talk about with power thinking. So, yes, it was basketball, it was a sport, but there was a mindset there and elements of that mindset that I'm sure is utilized in all parts of his life. And you picked it up certainly when he was a young man, asking questions and his
Oh, yes.
demeanor and so forth. It sounds like the same demeanor he has today he had when he was in kindergarten.
Oh, yeah.
So let's go to Leslie Flowers. Leslie, thanks for joining us. Thanks for your patience. Mention where you're joining us from and your thoughts about the New York Knicks and resilience. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Stanley, and nice to hear from you, Timothy. I'm in the Raleigh, North Carolina area and absolutely understand the joy and excitement because you may know that the Carolina Hurricanes just picked up the second Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Right in
Yes, they
2
did.
years. Not
Oh,
to
yeah.
shadow the New York Knicks, but what I will tell you is that in sports, that is where our children are learning mindset. They're not learning it in conventional education.
Mm.
So what we see and what we are witnessing in our sports arenas, which are competitive and money driven, absolutely, is a big focus on mindset and what we are thinking. And in the video, the word that he brought up was believe, that Jalen brought up.
Mm-hmm.
He also said, keep doing what you're doing. What was it? There was one word he kept using, and I can't think of what it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
But it points to persistence. That all the practice that they do, and you pointed out that it isn't just the tools, etc. It is the mental practice along with the physical practice. And when they got out there, and they were 30 points down, oh my goodness. So what that brought to mind, and I'll leave you with this, because I know there are others that would like to share. We can all climb Mount Everest. We've got to practice. We've got to get some equipment if that's what we really, really want to do. Like Jalen Brunson really, really wanted to play basketball, but he didn't know how when he began. And until you get on that court in a situation such as this 10, 20 years later, that it all comes together and the answers show up. So as you're climbing Mount Everest, once your hands and feet are on the mountain, that is when you'll know the next step.
Mm.
That is when you're provided the next step. So it works perfectly with power thinking, with the mental practice of the thoughts we're holding and how frequently we hold them, and completing things we hadn't done before, which builds confidence. So this young man, Jalen, clearly had stuck with it. He was persistent. He had a definite purpose, which was to play basketball. He fell deeply in love with it enough to make it be number one outside his studies and family, I'm sure. So he had all the components so that when this occurred and it looked like he was down 30 points, that unit, not unlike a band, a marching band, or any kind of teamwork, came together on a similar vibration. And it only comes when you are mentally fit for it. And that was the perfect example. He said persistence and just keep going. What was the word he used?
Was it chipping away?
Chipping away.
Chipping
that
away.
Was it.
Yes.
So what's the doing? You can reach the top of Mount Everest taking baby steps as long as you don't stop. And that's what this was all about. My granddaughters were in gymnastics. They're telling me the visualization that they're being taught in gymnastics. And it occurred to me that kids who are serious about sports, and I don't know about music, in the schools, but they have an advantage over the rest of us
Yeah.
because they've already been practicing these things. So with that, thank you very much, Stanley. I'll let you go. You have a great guest, and I hope this was enjoyable.
Definitely. Really appreciate that. Yes, chipping away and belief. Let's go to our 7 inner strengths. And if anyone has any thoughts about how those strengths applied to the New York Knicks, certainly hit that *6. There is, and now if you watch the series, I want you to think about this. We talk about it all the time, but think about it as it relates to that team. There's emotion regulation, the ability to stay calm under pressure. Now, both Timothy and Leslie mentioned that in one of those games, a real key, crucial game in the series, the New York Knicks were losing by just about 30 points, about 29 points. Very difficult to come back. And if you're not mentally strong, if you don't stay calm, it is going to be nearly impossible, to come back from a deficit like that and win. There's impulse control, the ability not to say or do the first thing that comes to mind. This was critical in some critical plays. There was a time when Jalen Brunson, the young man that Timothy coached, and I'm sure some of that came into play in Timothy's mindset and teachings, where their star player, the Spurs star player, Wembanyama, grabbed him by the head and just pushed him. And it was an obvious foul. There was no call. Now Jalen got up and there was a little bit of emotion, but you can tell his impulse control was absolutely fantastic because he didn't do what most players would do, which start swinging fists or pushing, or cursing. It was none of that. He stood and he looked at him, and you can tell that his impulse control was tremendous because he just kind of walked away. Those little incidents gave you clues about the strengths that he had to bounce back, to keep pushing, to chip away, as he said, to believe. We have empathy, the ability to understand another person's experiences and emotions. And he understood the other team was very young and experienced and very emotional. They got out of control sometimes and maybe did some things that weren't, smart. There's self-efficacy. Now, how did you hear that when he said, "We believe"? And in our little graphic, it says, "We can do it." And even though they were down 29 points in that critical game, they still believed. In fact, that interview was after that particular game. They believed that they could win. There's the optimism, the view that ultimately there'll be a successful outcome. Think about it, right? Coming back from that deficit. Causal analysis, a systematic way of drilling down to the root cause of a situation or problem. I'm sure when there was a timeout, there were discussions about things that they need to do. Hey, we're not defending well. We have to defend. We have to make sure we're moving the ball or hitting our shots. That root cause analysis that occurred, and they come out of the huddle and they execute. And of course, reaching out. In their case, it was taking action and not being upset with each other, pointing fingers. They took action to chip away, as Jalen said, and they were connected. Remember, instead of isolating, like some players may come back and say, "Okay, well, I'm going to have to do it myself." But they were connected. Now, while Jalen did a lot of the work, and in fact, in that particular game, there was a couple of other players that made major contributions because they weren't isolated as individuals; they were connected. That's part of reaching out. So, Timothy, what are your thoughts? I wanted to kind of go through those inner strengths.
Sure.
And you were the man that helped to groom and develop him from a very early age. What are your thoughts?
I'll tell you what, his family helped to groom and develop me as well because they brought those types of skills. When your dad plays ball already and is already a great defensive mindset and physical mindset on the field, he was able to be a great role model and still is. Who's the first person Jalen hugged after they won? His dad.
Right.
So that was really outstanding. So what did I learn? What did they learn from me? One, community. His mom stepped to me, and that's what she wanted me and my boys to provide: a sense of community, teamwork,
Mhm.
because he'd been working out with dad already. That connection was solid. His skill set was already there. It was under development at a young age, but he already was learning, who am I? When I'm on the basketball court, I'm focused. I can do this. And I love the fact they already had the mindset: play up, play older, play bigger, and all that. And I'll tell you, even when, and you know how kids are, they run around playing basketball in a bunch, right? When they would do that to him, he would get this look on his face. And I always called it the Jalen mean look. And then he would attack the basket. So
Mhm.
then, yeah, sometimes he would break mold and then go to his left and boom, he got an instant layup. So it's like mom and dad would say, "Hey, we told you right-handed only." But he knew he had it in him. So to know you have it in him, I mean, I attribute all these different coaches this kid's been blessed with. I mean, Jay Wright over Villanova and so many other great coaches. But I'm glad to have had a part in the development, the witnessing of it, but also the participation of all this.
Mhm.
And again, his mom still calls me Coach Tim. He shoots me a couple of notes. I think he's having a golf tournament, a celebrity golf tournament later on in the summer. Just
Mhm.
blessed and proud to have been part of it.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if you knew this, but if you were coaching Voorhees, you probably played against the Mount Laurel kids, right?
Oh yeah, there were
Um,
definitely Mount Laurel kids out there.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I coached the Mount Laurel
No,
travel
you
team.
didn't.
Yeah,
Wow.
because
Okay.
we lived in Mount Laurel, New Jersey,
Okay.
and my
Okay.
kids went to Lenape, and one of them, the older one, had the best record in the history of the school.
Yeah,
The
Lenape is a force.
the younger one, well, when before they came up in that
Yeah.
group, they were really bad. And then so the
Okay.
younger one came in after the older one graduated, and he was the starting point guard as a junior to their first state championship team. They went 28-0 in
Okay.
2004.
I get the correlation. Okay, got it. Got it. So my
Yeah,
older son would have experienced that.
yeah.
Yep. 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 Because when he was at
So
Cherry Hill East.
at East, yes,
Yeah. He was at Cherry Hill
East
East. Yeah.
East had some really good teams.
Yep. Yep.
So
In fact, they
yeah,
almost went undefeated in football. He was their he was a cornerback and running back for them. So
right.
yeah, but that was football. But he also did the track thing. But basketball, I remember you guys in Mount Laurel were a force as the kids all got to high school. So now to know you in a different capacity, this is really
Yeah.
amazing.
Same here. You always hear about Timothy Butts in New Mexico and Houston, anywhere in the country. Didn't realize that you shared that story. That's right. Okay, you were with Voorhees with
Yeah,
Cherry
yeah, yeah,
Hill, so you had to
yeah.
come across Mount Laurel. And
Absolutely.
the parents make a difference. Everyone, just remember that we, as parents and grandparents, we make a difference. Timothy Butts and what he was doing with his sons and Jalen Brunson and the kids in that community, uh, myself, other dads who were coaching in Mount Laurel when the kids were very young. Mount Laurel wasn't very good, and Lenape High School was absolutely terrible. But we kept developing those kids, and they stayed together. Most of them stayed in the Mount Laurel and Lenape School District, and they developed, and they just destroyed other teams. And it was just a blessing to see all of that. But again, it goes back to what we talk about every single week. What do we do with our emotions? And
Indeed.
we all are helping our children and grandchildren with that, with our impulses, and most importantly, with our belief in ourselves and our belief in our teammates, which you saw on full display with the New York Knicks. So, Timmy, thank you for joining. Look forward to having you
Absolutely.
again this evening. This has been absolutely tremendous. Leslie, thank
Fantastic.
you so much
For
for the
me as well.
comments. People, don't doubt yourself. If you begin to doubt yourself, as the San Antonio Spurs did, when they started missing shots that they would normally make, they had doubts, and they ultimately lost the game.
Yeah.
Most of it was about the mental, and we're so happy that you are with us every single week as we help you build on that mental. So, as we wrap up, remember, um, since we spend all of our time thinking these 50,000 thoughts a day, we must think with power and utilize power thinking. All right, I'll say goodbye to folks that I haven't seen. Soika, White, good to see you. Claudia Naismith, great to see you. I see Bristol, PA, and Gloria Hairston, who we didn't mention earlier. Ed Samuel, thank you for joining us. George Clark, whose son coaches at St. Joe's Prep and played for the same coach that Jalen Brunson's dad played for. Rick Brunson played for John Chaney at Temple University. So George and George's son, Chris, they know what that is all about as well. And I see Layla Llewellyn and others. I won't be able to mention you all. Thank you all so much for joining us. Joe Reddish, and thank you. David Black, again, thank you. Hey, David, have a great time at the parade. He's a New Yorker. Enjoy yourself. Lindsay Enger, thank you for joining us as well. Take care, everyone. Make it a great day. And join us again this evening. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, Dan.
All
Bye.
right. Take care. All right, Timothy, again, thank you so much. All right. We'll
For
see
sure.
you.
See you guys tonight.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
All right, Timothy. Thank you, man. That was tremendous. That was tremendous.